Hello, everyone. I'm Post Malort, and this is my very first YouTube video. I am going to try to play through Dark Souls. We can consider it a Let's Play or maybe a walkthrough. I'm really familiar with the game. So, with that said, let's just get started. So, new game. My name is Post Malort. Sex, I'll choose male. Your sex doesn't really matter for this game. Class, I'm going to choose thief because I would like to start with the master key. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's pretty useful. For my gift, I'll choose black fire bombs, and I'll explain that once we get a little bit into the tutorial. I'm going to choose that I'm very large, mainly because, you know, I'm just a fat guy and very large seems to make sense. So, face, let's do this very pale person. And, what do you think? A bob? Maybe, maybe he can look like a very pale Trent Reznor? Maybe a ponytail? I think we're gonna go with a bob. And I'll give him just dark blue hair. Why not? Alright, let's get this game started.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone scales. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. Seath, the Scaleless, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Alright, so let's begin. I normally skip the intros because I've watched them a lot, but I figure for the purposes of this video, I'll just let them play. I think that's probably the longest one we're gonna see. So let's carry on. Start with grabbing the key, because otherwise you'll be stuck in that cell forever. If you look to your right, you can see the stray demon, which we will come back and fight later. Currently, we are a little bitch, and he would wreck us horribly. Also, you just can't get to him at this point, so it will be for a much later episode. For now, we're gonna run through here, climb up the ladder. Unfortunately, in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls Remastered, there's no way to hurry up a ladder. So, you just have one pace. So, we'll light this bonfire. We can rest at it. Doesn't really matter. We haven't taken a lot of damage. Hopefully, I have the sound levels correct, and the resting at the bonfire sound isn't drowning out the microphone. So, let's go in here, and the black fire bombs, this is why we picked them. They will very easily kill this Asylum demon here. So, you can just look up, throw some bombs, try not to miss him like I did. You know, you can dodge his swings. As you can see, the black fire bombs do quite a bit of damage. He's not actually overly difficult. You can roll through most of his attacks and then just throw bombs at him, and he'll die in about 5 of them, assuming you don't miss like I did. And when you kill him, he will give you the Demon's Great Hammer. The Demon's Great Hammer is... I actually have never been able to use it, only because it has a strength requirement of 46 to one-hand it. As you can see, yeah, 46 strength, and it has a B scaling in strength. It's probably a pretty decent weapon. I've just never actually tried to use it. I suppose you could two-hand it. I forget what the exact calculation is for when you can two-hand something with the strength requirement. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think there are probably better weapons in the game. So, because I'm a thief, I'll start with this bandit's knife. If you picked a different character, you'll start with whatever weapon is relative to that character. This guy, we're just going to circle behind him and just really stab his little punk ass in the back. So, now we'll just traverse this light, It'll take us out here. You can see Oscar over there. Oscar is mortally wounded. He is the person that dropped the key into your cell and allowed you to escape. So when you get to this corner, there's a staircase going up and there's a staircase going down. The staircase going down has a door which only opens from this side, and it leads to this bonfire right before we killed the Asylum demon. But the way we need to go is we need to go up these stairs, but before doing so, you can kind of make out that there is a black iron ball at the top of these stairs. Some little shit is going to try to push that ball onto you and crush you with it. So what you want to do is just run up here a bit and then run back down and let the ball break open this wall so you can talk to Oscar.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you?
So, listen to Oscar. He deserves your time.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission. But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. And thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now. And thank you.
So, you can choose to kill Oscar, just finish him off. He'll give you 100 souls. It's not really necessary. I just choose not to kill him. I don't think it has much effect on the game itself, but I just choose to leave him alive because I like Oscar. So, him giving you the Estus Flask is very nice. That is how you heal in this game. The other thing he gives you is the Big Pilgrim Key. Normally you would get that from defeating the Asylum demon, but because we defeated the Asylum demon early, it comes from Oscar. Oof, my camera got jacked around there, which is annoying, but these guys aren't too tough. I'll drink my Estus Flask. It's notable that if you're playing a pyromancy or I believe a hunter, hanging on this edge right here will be either your pyromancy glove or your bow. So this guy, just like the others, you can just cut him. He's not overly difficult. And this guy, if you want to try to learn to parry, he's a decent place to do it. So what you want to do is when he swings the sword, just L2 to attempt to parry, and then R1, and you will murder the shit out of him. So here is where you would normally fight the Asylum demon if you hadn't killed him early. And the best thing to do would be just fall down and do a plunging attack on his head. But since we already killed him, we'll just use the Big Pilgrim's Key that we got from Oscar to get out of here. And so, up here to the left, there will be a soul item for you to grab. Right here. On the opposite side, over here on the right, is a crow's nest. This is Snuggly the Crow. And so they, later on in the game, you can come back and you can trade items with them. There are a ton of items you can trade with them. Your best bet is just looking it up on the internet and figuring out what to trade.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage. to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Okay, so we are done with the tutorial. Bonfires, you rest, it'll restore your health, it will respawn all enemies, you can level up here if you'd like, you can, if you're not hollow, so you become hollow every time you die, you reverse hollowing by taking a humanity. So, once you are human, you can kindle a bonfire, which will give you more Estus flasks every time you rest at it. This one starts at 10. It is already kindled once. Most start at 5. So let's talk to this fella. He'll give you some ideas of what you need to do at the start of this game.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first, but there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
Okay, so there you have it. You're essentially going to ring 2 bells, and it will further open up the pathways. 1 bell is up there in the Undead Asylum, and 1 bell is below us in Blight Town. Blight Town gets a pretty bad rap. It's not the most fun area, but it also isn't nearly as bad as people say. So, we're going to do a bit of item gathering while we're here. So, down here is Skeleton Hell. There are some good items, but these skeletons are much stronger than you currently, and they will fuck you up. So, you want to be kind of quick and run away from them quickly. And there are a ton of them, so just be careful and try not to get trapped down here. So this one here is especially good, this Zweihander. People use it quite often for a PvP build that is known as Giant Dad. Sorry, got a bit distracted there. I was worried I was going to get wrecked by the skeletons. This winged spear, also not a bad weapon. Oh, and I'm going to try very hard not to die. And pick up the soul of a lost undead. Oh, and I died. So, that happens. Like I said, the skeletons are a bit of a suicide run. Dying in this game is to be expected. Everyone dies. It takes a very long time to be good enough at this game to never die. That was probably a stupid death on my part. I didn't really need to mess with these skeletons, but I figured it is just some early items that are not overly difficult to get. It's really close to the bonfire where you respawn. Can just run down here and retrieve my souls, and I'll be unlikely to die a second time. So, on your way back up, instead of going down those stairs, we're going to go up these stairs and around, and we'll find another soul item right over here. And the skeletons will follow you basically all the way to the bonfire. You can see them back there. So we're just going to roll down, and we're going to run, and we will jump over this wall, and we'll rest at this bonfire. And that will reset all of the enemies. So, we have about 5 minutes left. I think that'll give us time to run down here. I'm trying to keep all these videos at roughly 30 minutes, so hopefully they're not too cumbersome to upload and not so long that nobody wants to watch them. So like I said, we're just doing a bit of item gathering. You can come down here right at the start of the game. There's 2 items down here on the way to New Londo. So New Londo is much later in the game. The first item is here. It's a S-stock, which I believe is a dex weapon. And the other is in this vase here, and it is transient curses. The transient curses are pretty useless at this point in the game, but when we go over there to New Londo, there will be ghosts, and the only way to hurt those ghosts is with an occult weapon or with those transient curses. So they'll just sit in our inventory for now. Not a big deal. The other things of note down here are this guy here.
This is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't cry. I'm Ricky of Vinheim. I was once an established smith. Look at me now. Can you believe it?
So, talk to him a couple times.
What is it? Have you? Oh no. Don't worry. I've no intention of escaping. It's safe here. I can't bear the thought of going hollow out there. Although, I must admit, not much to occupy myself. How about this? I could forge your weapons, albeit with rather minimal tools. I'll show you what made me the best in this.
So here he can reinforce weapons for you. Later, when you get a weapon +5, he can modify it into a magic weapon, which is very good if you are a sorcerer or anything with intelligence-based characters. He can repair equipment for you. I repair my equipment probably more often than I need to. But, you know, you probably don't need to. If you want to buy a couple spells, he has Heavy Soul Arrow and Soul Arrows. And he also sells a Sorcerer's Catalyst, which is needed to cast spells. Alright. So, the other thing you can do here, if you started with the Master Key, is you can unlock this door, and there is a soul item right here. And that is pretty much most of the items to gather. There will be a bit more at the beginning of the next video, and then from there we will head to the Undead Bird. So I'm going to go rest at the fire at Firelink Shrine, and then we can catch up with each other in the next video. I hope that this has been enjoyable. Please, if you have any suggestions for me, how to make this better, I am all ears. I always appreciate constructive criticism. You know, if there's anything you would like to see or like me to do differently, please just mention it and I will read your comments. Okay. For now, this will be the end of my first video. Here's to hoping it's a success, and we will chat later.